The movie starts with a family of 4 members including a man, Ki-taek, his wife, Chung-suk, daughter Ki-chung, and son, Ki-woo. They all live in a small basement, where the space is quite tight. They have to struggle hard for their survival, because their financial condition is very bad. They used to make the pizza boxes in order to run their house, but this job is not enough to fulfill their expenses of the house. One day Ki-woo's university friend visits his house. Giving a stone to Ki-woo, he says that it is from his grandfather for him. This stone was very special, and it was thought taking this stone will be lucky as the possessor of this stone gains happiness with a twist of fate. Ki-woo shares his poor financial condition with his friend. His friend says that he is going to foreign country for higher studies, therefore you can teach English to that girl whom I used to tutor. On this Ki-woo says that he is not a college-going guy, so they will not hire him. His friend says, I will recommend you, you just ask your sister to make a fake degree for you. Ki-woo's sister is graphic designer so he asks her to make a degree for him. Then Ki-woo goes to that place for giving tuition. The house is very big and beautiful. That family is aristocratic named Parks. This family also consists of 4 members as husband and wife with their son and daughter. The daughter's name is Dahai, whom need a tutor for her. There is also a maid who has been employed with the family for a long time. Ki-woo demonstrates himself in front of Dahai's mother. Satisfying from Ki-woo, she hires him. Then Ki-woo knows that her younger brother Da-song is fond of painting. They hired many teachers for it but no one continued. Ki-woo thinks that his sister is artistic, so he suggests her to the owner, to be his son's art teacher. But he does a trick that while talking to Da-song's mother, he says that his cousin is artistic, so I recommend you to hire her. Here he showcased his sister as his cousin. Hearing it, Da-song's mother agrees. And Ki-woo introduces his sister disguising her as Jessica. He hides her real name so that no one have doubt to detect their actual relationship. Ki-chung disguising herself as Jessica becomes the art teacher of that child. Impressing them, she also tells that she is actually an art therapist. Now these both brother and sister perform their duties as being teachers of those brother and sister. As Jessica took her first class, and she is about to go home, the owner of the house also reaches there. He asks his driver to drop Jessica to her house. And he does as he is told. Driver goes to drop Jessica as it is too late. Jessica doesn't want to show her house's location to the driver, therefore, she asks the driver to drop her at metro station, and he drops her there. Jessica, while sitting in a car, pulls out her panties in order to cast doubt on the driver's character, and that the owner becomes a part of the trick, and he start doubting that their driver has an affair with their son's art teacher. And it happens the same way. The owner start doubting his driver, which he shares it with his wife too. Then his wife asks Jessica about that night when she was dropped by driver. On it she says, I got off at metro station then house. Owner of house is confirmed that the driver has an affair. She asks her to leave. And after that, they fire their driver. Jessica does it to replace the driver with her father. Then she recommends them that her uncle's driver is an expert in driving, so you can hire him. And then she brings her father to introduce him to the family, she calls him her uncle's driver. Her father also gets that job. In this way, 3 of them as father, brother and sister perform their duties there. They work as unknown people for one another, so that their owners may not suspect them that they are father, brother and sister. Then we see that Ki-woo and Dahai begin to like each other during their coaching class. Now Ki-woo and Ki-chung also want a job for their mother in that house. So for this purpose, they have to discharge their maid from her duties. But it was not so easy, as the maid was like a mother to the owner and she worked for them as long as the owner can remember. They made a plan to make the owner full of doubts about the maid's health condition. The maid has an allergy from peach. So, they do the same, took some fur from the peach surface and pour it on maid's neck, when she is playing with the dog. She develops flu and sneeze due to the allergy. She goes to the hospital for treatment, where Ki-woo's father also arrives. He takes a selfie in such a way that the maid is visible in the photo behind him. Then he takes the house owner for shopping and tells her that he had seen the housemaid in the hospital. He shows her the selfie and says, "I have heard that she has tuberculosis, but she is reluctant to accept it." But his lady owner does not trust him. Then he sends a message to Ki-chung that we are reaching the house within 3 minutes. Receiving the message, Ki-chung again pours the peach fur on the maid, and the maid starts coughing. Meanwhile, lady owner reaches home, and she saw that the maid throws the tissue paper in dustbin after using it. The driver moves to the dustbin where she has thrown the tissue paper, throwing some red sauce on the tissue paper, and then he shows it to his lady owner. In this way, lady owner believed that her driver was right that the maid is suffering from tuberculosis. But she requests the driver to not mention it to her husband as he will get very angry. And then they also dismiss the maid. The driver introduces her wife as a cook to them, and finally, his wife is hired. They are now all 4 serving in one house, in which they leave no room for doubt. They start living in that house while hiding their true identities, using false names. Their living condition is now changed, and their poverty situation improves. They are getting a good food consistently. Park family decides to go on a picnic on the birthday of Desong, and leave for it. After they have gone, they all have been celebrating and enjoying a party. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. And the ex-maid is shown up on the doorsteps. She says that her luggage has left there in the house which she wants to collect. Chung-suk allows her to come inside, and she steps down to the basement of the house. A long time passed and that lady does not return from the basement. Chung-suk goes to check her, where she sees that the lady trying to push a cupboard which is very hard to move, as a plate is stuck under it. Chung-suk removes that plate, as a result cupboard is moved. There is a secret way under that cupboard which is leading downward to another basement. This maid goes there. Actually, there is a man who is actually the lady's husband. She kept him hidden there for the last 4.5 years. The Park family is unaware of all of this, because the previous family who lived there did not tell them, and this lady knows everything about the secret way because she was working here with the previous owners too. She hides her husband here because he is under a huge debt. He will be killed if he does not pay it. The maid requests Chung-suk to serve food to my husband in a week that's available in the refrigerator and I will pay you in return. Chung-suk refuses, threatening her that she will call the police. On it, that lady pleads not do and she begs. Chung-suk's husband, son and daughter are hearing everything standing on stairs. One of them stumbles and all of them fell down in front of them. Seeing it, the maid makes a video in which Ki-woo said that, "Oh father, my leg is hurt." This also recorded in the video. Now she knows that they are family and they have got this job by deceiving the owner. She threatens to send this video to the lady who owns this house, but Chung-suk begs her not to do so. She brings her husband out of the basement and orders them to stand with hands up. She also makes a video of them and their party table on which they were eating and drinking wine. They all 4 attacks on both husband and wife and delete that video by snatching her mobile phone. While they are fighting, suddenly the phone bell rings. Chung-suk picks up the phone and it's the lady owner on the call. She tells her that trip is cancelled because of the heavy rain and we are returning back within a few minutes. She also tells her to prepare dinner. Now they have to manage everything within minutes and also clean the house. When is on call, they put their hands on the mouth of both husband and wife, so that they may not shout. Afterward, they lock the husband and wife in the basement, and then begin to clean the house. The owners return to house after exact 8 minutes, but luckily they have cleaned the house. The Park family didn't notice that what has happened before their arrival. As only Chung-suk has the permission to live in the house, and they hidden their identity that they are actually siblings, so they therefore all hide. While taking the food, the lady owner tells Chung-suk that once my son woke up in the middle of the night and he saw a ghost in the kitchen. But we know that he was not the ghost, but the husband of the former maid. It is raining, and the owner's son Desong insists to sleep outside in the lawn fixing a tent. Desong's father and mother sleep in the hall room so that they may keep an eye on him. They are both talking with each other lying on sofa, unaware that Ki-woo, Ki-chung, and Ki-taek are hidden under the same sofa. They talk about their driver Ki-taek, and the owner of house is telling to his wife that he has unbearable smell. Actually, he is right, because the place they are living in is very dirty. People dump their waste in that area, so all the family members had a bad smell in their body and clothes. Ki-taek and his children are hearing the whole conversation. They feel bad because Desong had once said that my teacher has odor as in driver and maid. They decided to change their towel and soap, but the actual odor was in their house, not in their body, from which they were carrying this smell everywhere. However, when they both slept, they all come out and go to their house. It is raining heavily and they found their house filled with water as they reached there. All the water came inside through an open window as it's a basement. Now this place is not worth living. They all go to a place where mostly people came from flood areas. They spend their night at that shelter sleeping among strangers. In the morning Ki-chung receives a call from the lady owner, who invites her saying that you should come as a teacher for the happiness of our kid. She also invites her daughter's tutor Ki-woo. Then she goes to market for shopping. While sitting in the car, a strange smell came from the driver, so she places her hand on her nose. The driver is very much displeased on this reaction, because he does not expect such a disrespectful behavior from people. His lady owner does not want to react, but she has to do so, as she cannot bear it. Party is being held while Ki-woo and his student Dahai is upstairs. Ki-woo asks her, "Do you think we are one of them?" On it, she says, "Yes," while nodding. But actually, they are not among them. He thinks if the people from the basement came up, the whole secret will be out. And then they will lose their job. Thinking about it, he brings a gifted stone by his friend. Carrying this stone, he goes to the basement where they kept the maid and her husband. The housemaid died a night before, when they were taking them into the basement. She tried to run upstairs when Chung-suk kicks her, and consequently she falls down and dead. All 4 family members are unaware about it. Ki-woo reaches in the basement taking that stone in his hand. Stone fell from his hand, but he stealthily picks up that stone again. He comes here aiming to kill both of them, so their secret may never reveal before the owner. He proceeds gradually, but the maid's husband, who was free now, put a rope in Ki-woo's neck, drags him and binds that rope at a place. He lifts the same stone and is nearly to hit Ki-woo with that stone but miss it. He runs from there but falls from the basement stairs and comes down. He injures him badly. He runs and reaches out at the party and looks at Ki-chung, who is going to Desong holding a cake. He immediately recognizes her and running towards her, stabs a knife in her chest, injuring her badly. Ki-chung's father presses her wound in order to lessen the blood flow. But her wound is deep. Chung-suk sees that he has attacked her daughter and moves towards him. There is a fight between them, and Chung-suk kills that man during the fight. The house owner wants to take his car keys, but the keys are under that dead person's body. While taking the key, he feels that smell again and he places his hand on his nose. When his driver observes him doing as such, his face expressions changes. Getting angry, he takes a knife and attacks on his owner. Ki-take does it because his owner wanted the key, so he may take his unconscious son to hospital. On the other hand, his daughter is dying, but no one cares. Ki-take looks at the owner's face, confused. He gets angry, so if he places his hand on his nose while taking the key from the ex-maid's husband. Because his body stinks in the same way as that person's, and he associates himself with that person. He now realizes that such people hate them. He attacks on him because of this narrow-mindedness. Afterward that the driver disappears. Ki-chung is no more, but Ki-woo is recovered. However, he is facing some mental issues. Then both the mother and son are convicted of deception, fraud and conspiracy, but court releases them with no penalty, just giving them some instruction. The Park's family sell their home to a German family, and they also unaware of the house's history and its secret basement. The driver Ki-take is still present in the basement as he hides himself here after he killed his employer. He conveys messages to his son in the Morse code from flickering light, that he is hidden here and alive. Morse code is thought as a signal which makes a communication between two persons. It has the facility to send message between people. He sends the message through that flickering light, clicking it on and off. He transmits signal to his son. His son Ki-woo, who observes signals through binocular at a distance. He decodes the received code and knows that his father is still alive in the same basement. He regrets on his act of killing of the Park family's owner. He apologizes going before his photo. Ki-woo says, "One day I will earn much money and we will purchase that house, and then you will come out of that basement, where we will be waiting for you." And it happens, Ki-woo purchases that house and Ki-take comes from basement without any fear. He meets his family, but suddenly we see that it is his imaginations with no reality in it. The movie gives us a lesson that life does not always goes on with lies and deceiving. Truth eventually comes out, and when it comes out, the consequences may be unbearable and painful. On the other hand, we all need to acquire the skills to be self-sufficient, financially independent, and self-reliant. When we deny others the opportunity to do so, we inadvertently encourage a dependent mindset, constantly relying on others. By not allowing others to take responsibility for themselves, we enable them to shirk accountability and neglect their obligations as responsible individuals. Thanks for watching.